In a silent theater of unspoken desires, there exists a peculiar law of human nature. The heart leans most ardently toward what remains just beyond its grasp. When you strip away the frantic layers of validation seeking, when you loosen your grip on the need to be seen and applauded, you discover a truth so sharp it can cut through the thickest illusions. The truth is this: those who can detach themselves from the applause, the affection, the constant nods of approval, hold a power so profound it unsettles the minds of everyone who cannot fathom such freedom. For in a world governed by invisible strings, the one who does not flinch when those strings are pulled becomes the silent puppeteer. Consider the ceaseless current of attention that flows between people. It is a currency, more valuable than gold, more intoxicating than wine. The moment you cease to spend it recklessly, when you stop offering your gaze, your replies, your assurances, you transform into a riddle that others feel compelled to solve. They do not merely want your presence, they crave the restoration of certainty, the soothing of their own unsettled spirit. In your absence, they will invent meanings. They will weave stories to fill the hollow you leave behind, and those stories will ensnare them far more effectively than any plea for affection ever could. Throughout history, the architects of power have understood this subtle art. Emperors clad in robes threaded with the burdens of nations, seducers whose glances could unmoor the most steadfast heart, monarchs who never raised their voice yet commanded entire empires. They all grasped the same principle: to remain slightly out of reach is to remain irresistible. For longing is born not in abundance, but in scarcity. When you allow yourself to be seen without being fully possessed, you become a mirror reflecting the secret hungers of others. There is a deceptive simplicity in withdrawing your reactions. When someone casts an emotional stone into the waters of your mind, you have a choice. You can thrash and churn, proving that you can be moved, or you can allow the surface to remain still, a glassy calm that offers no hint of what lies beneath. In that stillness, you are no longer a participant in their drama, but the silent witness to their unraveling. You become the question they cannot answer, the door they cannot open, the flame they cannot extinguish. It is in this quiet dispassion that the game tilts irrevocably. For most people are imprisoned by their own yearning to be chosen, to be affirmed, to be wanted so obviously that all doubt is extinguished. But if you can sever the invisible tether that binds your sense of worth to another's validation, you gain the ability to walk away at any moment, and this possibility makes your presence unbearably significant. Your indifference becomes the rarest commodity, and those who once believed themselves essential to you will feel the cold ache of uncertainty gnawing at their confidence. Imagine the silent power of a delayed response. When your phone trembles with the urgency of someone demanding to be acknowledged, you let it rest in your palm, your gaze untroubled. To them, every passing second swells into an eternity of wondering. Did you see their message? Do you care? Should they have said more or less? You offer no clue, and in that void, they become entangled in their own doubts. The need for clarity devours them. They do not realize that you have created this hunger merely by refusing to feed it. Consider the exit from an argument before it ever has a chance to burst into flames. Most people believe that proving themselves is a form of conquest, that winning the exchange grants them superiority. But the truth is more brutal. The one who leaves an argument untouched, who refuses to dignify the chaos with a reply, becomes an unassailable fortress. For anger is a chain, and every heated retort is another link binding you to the other's will. To step away is to shatter that chain, to declare with your silence that nothing they say can compel you to descend into the mire of petty quarrels. This is not ghosting. It is not cruelty born of insecurity. It is a discipline that demands more courage than any display of outrage or desperation. It is the steady assertion that your inner state cannot be dictated by another's whim. Each moment you refrain from explaining yourself, You reclaim a fragment of the power most people scatter thoughtlessly in their hunger to be understood. You become the author of your own stillness, the keeper of your own flame. And yet, this power does not yield to those who pretend. There is a scent to false detachment, a sour note that betrays the performance, when your indifference is merely a mask stretched over your raw longing to be adored. Others can feel the tremor beneath the surface. They will sense that you are waiting for them to chase you, and your secret hope becomes their advantage. But when your detachment is real, when you have cultivated a purpose so vast that no one's opinion can erode its foundations, your silence becomes a storm they cannot withstand. They will orbit your calm like moths drawn helplessly to a darkness they cannot illuminate. To hold such power requires a fierce devotion to your own worth. It is the discipline of becoming so saturated with meaning that you do not need to be completed by anyone's regard. This is the unspoken promise of the one who can walk away without a backward glance, that they are whole already, and that to remain in their life is a privilege never to be assumed. In this quiet declaration, you elevate yourself above the clamor of lesser ambitions. You are no longer a petitioner begging for scraps of affection. You are the banquet, and others will starve without a seat at your table. There is an exquisite tension in letting others feel your absence. In a culture addicted to immediacy, where every notification demands a reaction, to withhold your attention is to create a vacuum so profound that it distorts the emotional gravity of everyone around you. They will search for signs in the smallest gestures, an unread message, a passing glance, the faintest suggestion of warmth, and each uncertainty will bind them more tightly to the mystery of you. To wield this discipline is to understand that longing is not born from abundance, but from anticipation. When you cease to prove your worth, when you allow your silence to echo unanswered, you awaken in others a need that no confession of love could ever inspire. It is not cruelty. It is the recognition that desire cannot flourish in the glare of constant affirmation. It blooms instead in the half-light, in the shadows where imagination has room to wander. Perhaps this is why the old philosophers spoke so often of self-mastery. For to be unmoved by another's fleeting approval is to step beyond the reach of their power. When you no longer fear the loss of their regard, you are free to exist in your own sovereign space. And it is from this sanctuary of indifference that the most magnetic allure arises. They will feel it in your composure, in the ease with which you withdraw your attention, in the quiet certainty that you are always prepared to depart. There is an elegance in restraint, a purity in not needing to declare your worth aloud. Your very detachment becomes a mirror reflecting the insecurities of those who cannot imagine a love that does not demand constant reassurance. They will wonder what hidden richness allows you to be so still, so untroubled by their withdrawal. And in their wondering, they will find themselves ensnared. Allow them to feel this quiet uncertainty. Let them taste the hollow that forms when you step beyond their grasp. Permit their imagination to bloom into obsession, for it is in the spaces you refuse to fill that the seeds of longing take root. They will return to your memory again and again, turning over every moment you shared, searching for the proof that you once needed them. But your absence will whisper a deeper truth, that you never did. To be truly indifferent is not to despise affection, but to transcend the need for it. It is to understand that all external validation is but a passing breeze, unable to disturb the still lake of your own self-possession. When you can sit alone in this unshaken quiet, you become the storm on the horizon that others cannot ignore. And though they will not always understand why, they will feel compelled to draw nearer, hoping to find in you the security they have never known within themselves. So hold your silence like a blade hidden in plain sight. Wear your detachment like an invisible crown. Let your unbothered gaze reveal nothing, and in that nothingness, grant others the exquisite agony of their own yearning. For it is only when you stop caring that they begin to question everything they once believed about control, desire, and the true nature of power.